Hey, what's up, everybody? Today, I want to talk about big government. I want to talk about the dangers of big government, and I want to talk about why letting the government grow as it wants to, or as it sees fit, is dangerous. So, I want to start off though by just saying that when our country was founded, the framers in drafting the Constitution basically said that the federal government is not allowed to do anything unless it's specifically authorized in the Constitution. So the default setting is that government exists at the state level. And then the federal government, Congress, has certain enumerated powers. Things like raising an army and navy, maintaining interstate roads, providing for the common defense, coining money and having a common currency and that sort of thing, and then regulating interstate commerce. And it's that last part that I believe has sort of opened the floodgates to federal regulation. It is that interstate commerce. And I think I'll do a video specifically on the interstate commerce clause because that's a very interesting topic. But anyway, look for that in the next video. This is more of just like a philosophical discussion of why the government continues to expand and grow. All right. So government is made up of people, right? There are people as low-level workers. There are people as department heads. There's people as, presidents, congressmen, Supreme Court justices, and everything. To understand why the government behaves in a certain way, you have to understand the nature of humans, the nature of organisms. In biology and even in just human psychology, it is natural for an entity or an organism or a person to always want to grow, to expand, to get more powerful, to get more influential. This is not a cynical view of the world or a conspiracy theorist view of the world. This is simply a recognition of our natural state. A person wants to get, when they're younger, they want to get bigger, taller, stronger, faster. A person wants to earn more money. They want to have more influence. They want to, expand their net worth, their social circle, that sort of thing. That's a very natural feeling. In nature, right? Plants want to grow. Plants want to, invade other areas. Weeds want to expand and get into your garden bed. Every natural organism has a default setting of wanting to get bigger and bigger and bigger and expand. To a certain extent, that's necessary for life, right? I mean, that's not inherently a bad thing. Companies want to grow. I mean, companies, if they're doing well, they get bigger. They open a second location, a third location. They expand their product line. Restaurants, sometimes broaden their menu and start offering delivery services. Look at Amazon. Look at Walmart. This is the natural default state. Now, understanding that departments of government, specifically talking about the federal government, are comprised of people, the attributes and characteristics that we attribute to humans and people are naturally attributed to the organization that is comprised of people. So what do I mean by that? Well, every department of government is headed by a person. There are people working there. If you are the head of a department, your natural instinct for both professional and personal development, growth, and promotion requires the expansion of that department, right? If you're the head of the Department of Education, you're the head of the, let's say, IRS, right? Just for example, the IRS. Does the head of the IRS most likely want more or less tax regulations? Probably more, because that expands their jurisdiction. It expands their right to be involved in things, and then it also justifies a greater budget. It justifies them going to Congress saying, "Hey, we need a bigger budget because we have these other things that we have to regulate, these other things we have to do." Same with the Department of Education. They want to be involved in more things. They need a bigger budget. That means they can hire more people. And then when you hire more people, you're in charge of more people. Your status grows. I don't think this is an esoteric concept. I think this is, when you break it down and think about it, it makes sense that most people, 99% of people in a professional capacity, would love for their organization to grow. Now, when we understand that, the federal government, comprised of all these different departments, as an entity, is going to want to expand itself, even if it is not in the best interests of the U.S. population, of the country as a whole, of the U.S. taxpayers, right? These departments just naturally want to grow. So what do we have to do? We have to keep that in check. And I don't think we've done a good job doing that. I don't think we've done a good job of saying, you know what, we don't need to expand this department. This department doesn't need to be involved in this. But, for example, congressmen, right? Well, what do they have to do? They have to write laws. That's what Congress does, is write laws. Well, doesn't there come a point where we have enough laws? And if you get to a point where you have enough laws, you're essentially saying, well, the legislature is useless. Like, we don't need a legislature anymore. We have enough laws at the federal level. But each politician, it's in their own best interest to write a law, to feel like they're doing something, so they can take something back to their constituency and say, well, look what I did. But if you're constantly passing laws, what is that doing? That's expanding the scope of the federal government, because now more laws are passed. So what does that mean? Congress writes the law. Who enforces the law? The executive branch of government. Someone has to go out and then enforce or administer those laws that Congress continues to pass. Whether we need them or not, they're going to continue to pass laws because they have to justify their existence. So we have this never-ending expansion of federal authority, federal government, that is not necessarily in the best interest of the U.S. population. So I'll stop there. Basically, the takeaway that I'm trying to, the point that I'm trying to make is, the federal government is an entity just like any other entity, and its natural instinct, its trait as an organism, is to grow and expand. And we need to see that. We need to realize that, and we need to understand that that is not necessarily in the best interests of us as a country.